At the back end of 2023, I reviewed a game called Super Rolling Heroes, and I gave it a 7 out of 10. It was a downhill precision platformer that was very hardcore, asking you to smash various objects and avoid all of the spiky traps in the meantime, whilst staying on the hill. And it was very difficult, in part because of its isometric view, in part because of its fairly inconsistent physics, but also because it was just full of traps everywhere. It was designed to be a hardcore game. I really enjoyed the challenge and relished it and had good fun playing, hence the 7 out of 10. But a year later, Solid Neon Games has released a Super Rolling Heroes Deluxe, replacing the original game and improving and polishing all of the experience, whilst adding a brand new easy mode that really opens up the game and makes it more accessible. If this is the first time you've come across it though, I'll explain the skinny version of it. You get to choose or dress a customizable rollable hero. It's like a big weighty blob of water that builds momentum the longer you let it roll and the less things it smashes into. But that momentum comes back to bite you because this game is all about precision. As you roll down the hill, there will be spike traps absolutely everywhere, narrow platforms to run through and gaps to fly through to make sure that you stay on the island. But at the same time, you need to smash as many objects in the level as possible to get a certain medal. Now, you just need to reach the bottom and smash the crystal in order to survive the level and unlock the next one. But it's the smashing of all of the different objects and destroying like houses or huts or wells or bridges or like barriers or like rolling over farm vegetation, for example. All of these kind of count up. And this earns you particular points, which then allows you to then go and buy customization things that you can then dress up your rolling, bouncing water ball to do the same thing in the next levels. The level designs are fiendish, and as you go through the 60 different levels, it will make you scream. Over and over and over again. But the crucial thing this time around is that the physics feel much more predictable and you understand why you're buggering it up when you do get it wrong, and you will get it wrong often. The perspective is still sometimes a bit of an issue because with isometric gaming, obviously you've got to really understand that perspective well. And sometimes bits of a level are slightly hidden, but that only happens very occasionally. It was the physics that used to be a little bit too woolly for my own preference on the original, and it's tightened up and much more responsive this time in the deluxe version. Yes, there's still momentum, and yes, it feels like you're having to like pull an airy ball of water around to kind of get yourself going. But I became much more adept to tackling levels with all of the different little tiny tweaks and options that have been added along the way. One of the things that's been best tightened up is your ability to do a jump and back up slightly up the mountain. And this is really crucial because an awful lot of the way how levels are designed are based around you being at a certain speed to get through like a long maze of spikes, for example. Because if you go too fast, you can't turn fast enough and you'll pop yourself. Or if you go too slow and turn in, you'll oversteer in and hit the middle, like inside line of the spikes. So you have to be at the right speed, and that kind of jump to back up resets some of your momentum and lets you go again. And using that plus some of the other power-ups that allow you to, say, send a shockwave out around you to smash objects either side, or to do a little blast forward so that you can spear underneath some, say, rotating saws, for example. It's the way how all of these mechanics now just feel like they flow better is the real big win in terms of the end-to-end gameplay. The other big win here is easy mode, and what this does is it presents the same 60 levels but with reduced obstacles in the way so that you can really like bomb it down the hill. And surprisingly, this made the game feel totally different. It was less about really having to be precise, and although you do build momentum up on hard mode or original mode, it's much more barrel it down the hill and hope for the best in the easy mode. And whilst you do kind of ricochet off things like a pinball machine bouncing off of like gas canisters that will explode and send you up into the air and you'll land on a house and all of that kind of stuff, it's the pace of it that makes you feel like you're in an absolute carnage pachinko machine in a way. And just it brings a level of joy and chaos that the hard mode didn't do because you're having to concentrate so much on getting it right. The flip side of this is that hard mode then has not just a smash everything in the level and survive medal, but it also has a bomb it down the hill as fast as possible medal too. And I'd recommend not doing them at the same time because I'd probably find that nigh on impossible to do. For me, Super Rolling Heroes Deluxe is a developer that spent a year listening to feedback and tweaking and refining an experience and then putting out its ultimate version of it. And I have to say, it's the way how everything is much more cohesive that is the big seller for me. And whilst easy mode is great fun, and I definitely used it on the last 15 levels of the game because I just wanted to see how barreling down the hill would feel like, the real chef's kiss satisfaction comes from that original game. And so when you're just polishing something that was already good, you can only get something better. So Super Rolling Heroes Deluxe gets an improved score because it's an improved game. Thanks for watching. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/higherplane-network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.